the second round here at Baltimore Arena in the East region as the road to the Final Four continues. And in the first of two games today, it'll be the 5th-seeded Alabama Crimson Tide of the Southeast Conference against the Big Eight's Oklahoma State, seeded number 4. The winner here will move on to East Rutherford in the East Regionals next week. And we have another game to come later, Wake Forest against St. Louis. Hello, everyone. Along with Billy Packer, I'm Dick Stockton. And, of course, we've got a contrast kind of in this game because we have Oklahoma State, which has been third in the nation in field goal percentage at over 51%. On the other hand, Billy, we have Alabama, which leads the nation in field goal percentage defensively.
Well, Oklahoma State also a good defensive team, Dick, but anytime you see in big games, great defense and great offense, what usually happens? The defense is the team. If it wasn't for that balance about Oklahoma State, I'd say that would be the difference today.
Billy, we got two outstanding front men. Antonio McDyess coming off a record game against Penn with 39 points.
Incredible quickness. This young man certainly has come to the front in both the SEC tournament and, of course, in his first round game here the other night. Set a new record for all-time Alabama player in the NCAA tournament. But if he's going up against a wide body, has great hands, there'll be a tremendous contrast and a difference in their style.
Starting lineups, and there are 3 starting seniors for Alabama and 4 seniors start for Oklahoma State. Good front line with Caffey, Faulkner, and McDyess. And watch Randy Rutherford, who is averaging 20 points a game to support Brian Reeves, their Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside combination. Tom Harrington, Ed Hightower, and Mike Sancerre are the officials working this first game. The tip controlled by Alabama there in the crimson uniform.
Well, that was any indication. McDyess was about 18 inches above Reeves on that tap.
Marvin Orange is the point guard. Artie Griffin is the other backcourt performer. They go into McDyess, no secret there, and he misses the first shot. Reeves the rebound, and Reeves did not have a rebound in the entire first half of their first round game against North Carolina A&T.
Young man with that wide body showed tremendous hands. A back screen for Reeves, another back screen for Pierce.
With the ball is Andre Owens, the point guard. Here's Rutherford. They go into Reeves, good position. They collapse around him. Knocking the ball out of bounds is Caffey, so Wake Forest will have 12 seconds.
Dick, it's really interesting. Reeves on the year has only 23 assists, but he has great hands to catch the ball, and he holds it up and passes well. It's kind of amazing. 23 assists, 103 turnovers for a big man.
So teams are knocking the ball out of his hands, apparently. Here is Owens in the lane, swatted out of bounds, but goaltending is called against Antonio McDyess.
Well, it's one thing to have the ability to go up there, but judgment was not very good right here. Ball definitely on the way down. McDyess has to realize he's too close to the basket to pick that one off.
Owens gives Wake for Oklahoma State the lead. Griffin trying to get inside to Caffey. They get it to Caffey. Good move by Jason Caffey, who fouled out in overtime after scoring 11 points. He averages over 12 a game.
Collins, an excellent defender and leaper, but Caffey's got about 35 pounds on him, and that really means a lot down in that low box.
Collins inside to Pierce. Good defense blocked by both McDyess and Griffin, who's got the ball now.
It's the 65th block in the year for McDyess, and he's not the leader on the team.
It's Roy Rogers who will come off the bench. He leads the team in shot blocking.
Really spreading things wide, wanting to punch everything down inside, potentially to get Reeves in some foul trouble.
Reeves will give McDyess the shot, backing up.
When that happens, McDyess is going to have to fill in the gap a little bit. Don't be so far out.
Here's Jamal Faulkner, who was ice cold in regulation time and then hit 2 big 3-point baskets against Penn in the extra session.
Well, Dick, you're absolutely correct. That big 3 that he hit really set things up in the overtime where they jumped out a 9-0 lead on Penn. Penn could never overcome it.
Reeves has a screen from Pierce. Takes a rare outside shot for him, and McDyess into the hands of Griffin.
Orange open on a pass.
Caffey.
Not a good play.
McDyess tried to keep it alive, and here's Rutherford.
Caffey could have thrown that ball cross court to Orange, flashed into the post, and had a nice easy one.
Reeves, great pass from Owens, and it was Owens who made the play.
What you can see that Alabama is doing, putting Caffey on Reeves. Now, Caffey giving up about 4 inches there, 3 or 4 inches, but that gives McDyess an opportunity to come over to the weak side on any lobs or when Reeves gets away from Caffey.
Rutherford stays with Griffin. And McDyess hits from outside. You're going to like him.
Nick, exactly what I said on the last play. Take up a little slack, get in 2 feet closer, and then you have your jump shot range. He's been standing out about 18 feet.
His 39 points broke Leon Douglas's mark set against North Carolina back in '76. Most points by an Alabama player in the NCAA tournament. They go low to Reeves over Caffey, and Big Country Reeves gets his second basket.
Caffey will not be able to play behind Reeves, and I'm surprised that he is. They've got to go ahead and force the lobs, particularly with McDyess coming over from the weak side.
Great move inside and a foul by Reeves, and you can see the quickness that McDyess has on Reeves, and that could be a factor today.
Foul number 50.
Alabama, like Oklahoma, has not gotten beyond the second round in their last 2 NCAA appearances. Last year, the Crimson Tide lost to Purdue in the second round. That's David Hobbs in his 3rd year, went to the NIT in his first 2 seasons and got to this championship last year.
I don't think that Coach Hobbs, or for that matter, Alabama basketball, Dick, has gotten the credit that it's due in terms of, you know, we always hear about Kentucky, we hear about Arkansas, we hear about LSU in the league. But what Alabama has done and the players they've put into the NBA, the quality of their basketball has been outstanding ever since C.M. Newton got it rolling back in the 70s.
8-6, Alabama leading Oklahoma State early.
1-3-1 half-court trap. Tough to throw over a guy like McDyess.
Here's Collins, who goes up with the shot. And the rebound taken down by McDyess. Collins, by the way, suffered a torn tendon in his index finger, and that's been wrapped up. We'll get a closer look at Collins and his injury.
Fortunately for Oklahoma State, he's not a big scorer. It could hurt him from the foul line where he is good.
3-point attempt by Griffin missed, and Faulkner. Good tap by McDyess to him.
Tremendous tap, kept it alive, didn't get the rebound, but retained possession.
Collins doing a good job on Faulkner. Orange for 3, and he's got it. So Marvin Orange, who is the second-ranking 3-point shooter for Alabama, gives the Tide a 5-point lead.
But their backcourt just shoots 30% from 3. So it's so important for them to advance to get that kind of a shot. Now back to straight man-to-man. McDyess on Pierce. He knows he doesn't have big responsibilities defensively, even though Pierce having a pretty good tournament.
Great feed. Rutherford gets the basket in the foul, and it was Andre Owens who has made several crisp passes to the inside thus far.
Well, the leading assist man at Oklahoma State ever in regard to the season that he's having. And with all of these back screens, if they're going to play man-to-man with so much concentration on Reeves, you're going to see Rutherford get open.
Owens had 9 rebounds against Drexel in the first round, and that's a career high for a guard that's only 5'11". And Randy Rutherford, the top free throw shooter, misses. Can't convert the 3-point play, and Alabama controls.
Nice drive.
Faulkner driving to the hoop. A fine drive by the senior from Brooklyn, who began his college career 2 seasons at Arizona State.
Still has his high-scoring game as a player at Arizona State, as opposed to Alabama. He's been everything from a starter to the 6th man on this club.
Keontae Roberts off the bench, a sophomore from Edmond, Oklahoma. Reeves, short with it. McDyess with another rebound. That's his 3rd.
Reeves has a beautiful soft touch.
Here's Caffey, double teamed. Down low by Pierce and Rutherford. McDyess over Reeves. How smooth is Antonio McDyess, just a sophomore from Quitman, Mississippi, who once scored 40 points, he recalled, in high school after the 39-point effort against Penn.
The young man in his last 15 games has 10 double-doubles. So here he goes. Boy, what quickness.
And that's been the difference for 2 teams that are strong inside. McDyess already with 6 points. They go low to Caffey. 4 Oklahoma State players around Caffey, and they call him for the offensive foul.
You don't see that often, Dick. A man going up with a shot strong with 2 hands without charging with his chest, but a good call inside. 7-point
lead for the 5th seed Alabama Crimson Tide. State, Villanova out. Stanford advances for the first time since '42. City of Philadelphia, no love there at 0-4, and both the Big Eight and the SEC off to a good start here.
Off to a good start. Of course, the Big Ten having a miserable start in this tournament. Came within a basket of having everybody out the first day.
Andre Owens at the top for Oklahoma State, trailing by 7. Here's Reeves backing in against Caffey. Good shot by Reeves, who comes in averaging 21 points a game, and that's what he scored in the tournament opener.
Dick, I'm really surprised that Caffey is playing directly behind Reeves. There is no way to guard a wide body like that with such a soft touch behind, particularly when McDyess can come over and help out if he fronts him.
Inside Caffey and a foul, no basket. UMass advances, and maybe the road a little easier for them now that Villanova's been knocked out. Utah's a team to watch, and Mississippi State over Santa Clara, and they will be playing Utah in their next game. There's Iowa State, a Big 8 team advancing.
I think that Villanova game amazed me. Villanova 3 for 21 from 3. That's a team that I really thought was Final Four bound. Great job by Jeff Capel and Petey Sessoms in that game. Tremendous.
Pierce committed the last foul for Oklahoma State. Team fouls are 2 and 2. Faulkner off the mark and Reeves the rebound. So here's a guy who had no rebounds in the first half and 11 boards in the second half against Drexel. Under 13 minutes to play first half. Alabama has led virtually all the way, up by 5.
You can constantly see the back screens that are being put on the Alabama players. Now McDyess jumps over.
Double team, and Marvin Orange got hit by Reeves' arm, and McDyess fighting. Reeves gets it again.
Nice footwork by Reeves on the recovery.
Showing a lot of tenaciousness inside.
You see the change now. McDyess.
Rutherford on the runner, and so Randy Rutherford gets his second basket. Between the two of them, Reeves and Rutherford have given Oklahoma State 41 points a game. Alabama's 15 points, 12 have come from their front court.
Not surprising, Dick. And a great front court it is. Not many teams in the country can put 3 men of that caliber. All high school, all-American caliber players. Players of the year in their state coming in. So it is a very solid and talented front line.
McDyess now with 8 points.
Now it's Caffey back, trying to front a little bit on Reeves.
Rutherford, Artie Griffin won't give him the 3. Alabama's a quick team. They're driving in as Owens misses, and a rebound by McDyess. He's got 5. Alabama pushing it up. Here's Faulkner. And he slices in. I tell you, you were right at the outset when you said Oklahoma State also plays fine defense.
Outstanding defensive team. Of course, has been one of Eddie Sutton's trademarks for years. A disciple, of course, of Coach Iba. And when you look at that Iba tree, every single one of those guys have been great defensive teachers.
Meanwhile, Keontae Roberts on a foray keeps Oklahoma State within reach. 3 points down as we wind down to 11 minutes to go first half.
And Dick, you're going to see, if we don't see some outside shooting by Alabama soon, that defense is dropping back in now inside the foul line.
Caffey with a great fake and a baseline drive.
Second time today that somebody has gone under Reeves and used their quickness to get by him.
Caffey, a great story. He came back from a broken foot and missed only 2 games this year for Alabama. Phenomenal return from the broken foot.
Came back strong. So far, Rutherford has been spending a lot of time screening for others.
Reeves misses the baseline, and a half a dozen rebounds now for McDyess. Knocked behind by Pierce, and the foul will be
a foul on Roberts. A tough
Roberts.
break there because it was a good steal from behind.
It was Pierce who tried to make the play, and we have a timeout. Here in Baltimore in the East.
No real upsets there. Great Alabama-Penn game. Minnesota-St. Louis as well.
In the Midwest, the #1 seed still there. Miami of Ohio at 12.
Playing with a hometown crowd, so that helps them against Virginia.
In the Southeast, Manhattan shocked Oklahoma in the first round. Now Arizona State.
Yep, Manhattan with probably one of the big upsets of the tournament so far.
And out west, more according to form.
Yeah, but I thought that Texas's margin of victory over Oregon really surprised me.
Alabama has brought in Eric Washington and Roy Rogers off of their bench as Orange misses from outside, and Jason Scare has checked in for Oklahoma State. Scare, number 43, guarding Griffin, collapsing around Rogers. He's their best shot blocker. You pointed that out. And his baby hook shot misses. Rutherford clears.
Surprising coming off the bench to take that shot. You've got Washington, two guys coming in. Washington, obviously, explosive scorer, just 1 for 5 the other night, Dick, but really got things going in regard to momentum.
And we have a pushing foul. So Hobbs with the luxury of bringing in a Roy Rogers, who is 6'9", giving McDyess a breather while Reeves remains in the ball game, and it doesn't get easier for Reeves.
Well, that's true, Dick, and there's a situation where Rogers can come in and maybe pick up 2, 3, 4 fouls even and not really hurt Alabama. Drop back into a zone on the out-of-bounds situation. 2-3, Rogers in the middle. Think about Rutherford now. Great range on his three-point shot. He's trying to find a hole.
Collapsing around Reeves. Owens penetrates. Great pass to Keontae Roberts. Oklahoma State trailing by 3. They scored the first basket of the game and have trailed since.
Owens, 2-for-1 turnover assist ratio, Dick. He's had 10 games this year, 5 games this year with 10 or more assists.
Caffey going around, and Roberts fouls him. That'll be the 4th team foul against Oklahoma State.
Now we've seen Caffey go onto the inside around Reeves and McDyess as well.
A lot of action coming up today on CBS. Here are the next games that you'll see. Manhattan against Arizona State. We talked about that game. And St. Louis and Wake Forest, the other half of the doubleheader here at the Baltimore Arena. Here is Eric Washington, who is the 3rd leading scorer, coming off the bench for Bama. Misses, but Caffey converts. And Alabama, showing their front court strength, leads again by 5.
Terrific move by Caffey, where he cleared out a little room with that upper body strength of his for the half hook.
Under 9 minutes to go first half. Good pass in the lane to Rutherford.
Nice movement without the ball for Rutherford to get open. He's got to get on track here, though, Dick. They can't go ahead and contend just with one man score.
He only scored 16 points against Drexel. And a great pass and a lay-in by Keontae Roberts, and that is Roberts' 6th point, so he ties Reeves for the Oklahoma State scoring lead.
That's the thing that shocks me about Reeves' assist totals for the year. Only 23, but the guy can pass. He's got great court sense out there and good hands.
Oklahoma State and Alabama matching basket for basket, but Bama leads by a small margin. A foot block and a new clock coming up. Oklahoma State spent their day off going to the White House and the Oval Office to visit President Clinton, who of course knew Eddie Sutton from his Arkansas coaching days. And as the players left, they heard the president shout, "Keep them off the boards," because when they got there, Arkansas was in the midst of their tight game yesterday.
I thought you'd go to the White House after you win the national championship, but Eddie and President Clinton, we talked to Eddie about it, they have been very good friends for a long time. And without question, and I mentioned this before, President Clinton has got to be the most genuine
knows the game.
Basketball fan that's been in a while.
He's not a guy who just picks up the paper and acquires the knowledge. He knows the game. And unfortunately, Eddie Sutton and Brian Reeves, who had to be here for the press conference, could not go themselves to see the president. Brian Passink has come in the game. Good shooting reserve guard, number 22. He has the ball. And McDyess back in for Alabama. And here's McDyess. Turn around over Reeves. Reeves good defensively.
Very good. Got up there, didn't lean in at all. Reeves really has to stay out of foul trouble, and so far he's doing it.
Oklahoma State down by 3 now.
Scare in the game as well. A solid game the other day against Penn.
McDyess is fronting Reeves, and they have Rogers behind him, so they have the 2 giants in there. And somebody gets open, and it's Scare for the easy layup.
Scare, Dick, it's kind of interesting. Young man, a piano player, but he came in, did an excellent job off the bench. Eddie Sutton's team is not that deep, but very good production.
First team academic all Big 8 is Jason Scare, a freshman from Deer Park, Texas. So the lead has been cut to 1. And the 3-point shot misses by Marvin Orange, and Oklahoma State can take their first lead now since the opening basket of the game.
Alabama has not had anything from the perimeter.
And that's going to be their problem, because as good as their front line is, they struggle at guard. And a timeout, 7:06 remaining. Here's that great pass and the lay-in by Scare.
Way to go, Cowboys! Yeah!
CBS.
What an exciting Friday with 4 overtime games in the first round yesterday.
And of course won a triple overtime game, the 7th all-time in history, with ODU beating Villanova. Dick, there have been 4 overtime games. One of them, of course, was very important.
Well, it was a consolation game in '61 when St. Joseph's of Philadelphia beat Utah, and you know the Ohio State Buckeyes had to wait for those 4 overtimes, lost their sharpness, and ended up losing to Cincinnati in the championship, and they blamed that wait. Collins out at the top, and
you know, and what's interesting, Dick, too, about that 4th overtime game is the score was 127 to 120, that Utah St. Joe's game, of course, wiped off the boards because of the gambling scandal that ensued thereafter.
They vacated that 3rd place St. Joseph's spot. Rutherford, you mentioned that he has been cold, and Oklahoma State's going to need his points along with Reeves.
Without question, neither team doing anything at all from the perimeter, and that's got to happen. The first team that gets their perimeter game going is going to win this. Big Country is somewhat neutralized people down on his end of the floor, and Alabama's great front line is causing problems on their end. So somebody has got to get a perimeter game going.
Nice. Roberts the rebound. Faulkner has replaced Roy Rogers up front, and off the hands of Collins. Now Collins, told you, has suffered a torn tendon jamming it against the backboard in the first game against Drexel, and he has had it taped, the index finger to the second finger, so he may not be as nimble as he want in handling the ball today.
You see that Alabama defense down inside with that shot blocking against Penn the other night. Penn had 14 to 33 from 3, but inside only 15 to 43. So the key is to get something going on the perimeter against his team. Too many shot blockers and size inside. Rutherford's got to do it.
And I'm sure passing is in there because the Alabama guards are not that proficient outside. Ball doesn't drop for McDyess, and Scare clears.
He's got to recognize 3 men around him. Ball's got to go back outside.
Score has remained 21 to 20 for the last couple of minutes. Reeves has it blocked by McDyess, and he blocked it in the air so we can get it.
We're going to beat a dead horse, Dick, but something on the perimeter is important here. Neither team even want to try.
Faulkner with a turnaround, and Alabama leading by 3. Oklahoma State has had many chances to regain the lead since the opening basket and have failed to do so. Oklahoma State Cowboys, one of the great teams in the 40s, winning back-to-back NCAA championships. They were the first to do so in Bob Curlin's day.
Right. Nice pass.
Scare for Reeves, and the rebound by Faulkner.
Reeves is at least looking to pass out.
McDyess, he'll go up against Reeves. And Scared should have gone after the ball because he knew Reeves had touched it. Instead, it is still Alabama's ball. And at the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we will select the Chevrolet players of the game, and in conjunction with the award, Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of both schools.
Dick, Reeves normally plays about 34 minutes a game, 34, 35 minutes a game. It's going to be very difficult with Rogers, of course, and McDyess in there today for him to do that and be a fully proficient basketball game. He fouled out the other night, but today I think it could be a matter of energy. One day coming back off a game playing against those kind of people.
Artie Griffin in the backcourt. Jason Caffey up front have checked in for Bama. Here is McDyess. Lays it in, and McDyess now with 10 points in the ball game has 8 rebounds, so he's off to another hot start.
Smart play by Caffey. He had the wide open jumper but saw a teammate open for a better one. And Reeves was lucky not to pick up the foul.
Scott Pierce in the game for Oklahoma State. He was left open when Penn collapsed in the first round. And a lay-in, and Reeves lays it in.
You notice the body is so wide that McDyess couldn't get over there to make the block. I mean, he said, you know, just too many people in my way here.
3-point game again. Alabama has had a 3- and a 5-point lead throughout this entire half. 4 minutes remaining. Caffey from the top reads the rebound, and it was against Drexel that they collapsed inside against Reeves, leaving Pierce wide open. That's not happening today for the Cowboys.
Push off by Rutherford. Surprised he isn't looking to get his shot from the outside more. Griffin doing a pretty nice job on it.
Alabama foul will be their 5th. Neither team yet close to the bonus, and the personal foul is against Faulkner. Roy Rogers, Alabama's other big man, will come in, and McDyess will get a breather when we return to Baltimore. Not only do we have surprises in results by teams in the tournament, but you get some unexpected results from players you didn't think could do it.
Well, that's what advantages you. Yesterday we had Dwight Stewart with 7 threes. Eric Miles with 4 for Georgetown was struggling. And how about North Carolina? A guy like Serge Vicker hits his all-time 19 points in a game when Wallace is down. So that's what it takes if you're going to move forward in this tournament. And today we haven't found that guy yet, and that will be the difference in this ballgame.
Around the screen, Rutherford trying to get on track. Short again on 3. Rutherford has scored only 4 points thus far. Took the fewest number of 3-point baskets in round 1 on Thursday night against Drexel. So he's been a little bit of a slump lately. Here's Faulkner. Good passing by Alabama. Pierce blocking out nicely on Caffey.
You know, Faulkner follows his shot with his eyes instead of keeping his head directed on the basket, and that really throws off his shot.
3 minutes remaining, first half. Alabama by 3. Good pass into Reeves, and he is fouled. And that'll be the 6th team foul, so the next foul against the Crimson Tide will be the bonus situation.
Here we see, Dick, why McDyess is so explosive. Now watch this. Up goes the shot, McDyess on the floor. Collins is up in the air, and he's a great leaper. And then look at how he explodes to the basket. Terrific job.
Tremendous timing, and back in the game is McDyess, who has scored 10 points. 8 rebounds for the sophomore, who has had a double-double in every NCAA tournament game he has played. It's 3 games, and it looks like he'll be playing a lot more before he's through. Foul was on Caffey, his second. Reeves hits the free throw as Roberts comes back in the lineup for Eddie Sutton's Cowboys.
I think back to the Byron Houston, who's the only guy that Reeves is behind now in scoring at Oklahoma State. But when they took that club down to the regionals, Reeves just a freshman in that team. 4 guys in the starting lineup in double figures. One of them, Eddie Sutton's son, who's now over there directing some traffic. But they got knocked off by the Fab Five in that freshman year.
The Fab Five era eventually ended this year, losing in the first round with 2 remaining. By the way, the free throws by Reeves were the first from the line for the Cowboys. Artie Griffin, nowhere to go with Rutherford. Orange for 3. Pierce, the rebound for Oklahoma State, and once again the Cowboys in a position to move in front.
Great defense on that last time down the floor. Somebody has got to get a perimeter game going here. Rutherford really being shielded by Griffin, and he can't get open.
And Alabama hasn't had one either. On the run, and the basket for Owens, who has been outstanding as a playmaker and showing what he can do penetrating. 2 minutes remain in the first half, and Oklahoma State has their first lead since the opening field goal of the game.
Look at where the defense is, Dick. Everybody inside the foul line by 2 steps.
Neither team, you're right, have been able to hit from the outside. That includes Griffin and Orange, and passing for Alabama, and Rutherford, and Griffin took too many steps trying to fake Rutherford.
Rutherford gets a lot of credit for being an outside scorer, which he is. He's a deluxe outside scorer, but not enough credit for great defense. 2 sequences in a row.
Coming up on Pennzoil at the half, Jim Nance and Clark Kellogg will be along from our New York studio. They'll get you caught up on all the latest NCAA tournament news, scores, and highlights, plus another look at the triple overtime dramatic win by Old Dominion against Villanova. That's all coming up at the half. Reeves has Rogers around him. So Rogers and McDyess both in the game at the same time. Rutherford blocked by Rogers. He leads the team, and here comes Bama. Rutherford takes it back.
Griffin doesn't count the faces in front of him. Rutherford on a good hustle. Now, one of the things about Rutherford that's interesting, he doesn't beat people off the dribble. He has to beat them after he's been screened, step-out jump shots. And so far, Griffin has been able to get out there with him.
Reeves out to Owens. He was open momentarily. Pierce from the corner. He's not an offensive threat, and Alabama picks it up. 22 of their 25 points have come from the front court. So it's been all the forwards and the centers for Alabama here in the half. Trailing by 1 with a differential of about 13 seconds on the clocks.
It's a little box. Trying to set Faulkner up, coming out from the screen.
Faulkner misses the three, and McDyess stuffs it through. Alabama had gone more than 4 minutes without a point, but McDyess decisively ends that drought.
How about the fans liking that one? We saw one the other night where he actually caught it above the rim and then went up about another 8 inches before he came back for the dunk. Such an explosive leaper on both ends of the floor.
12 points for McDyess. Oklahoma State playing for the last shot. Rutherford, and laid in that time by Pierce at the buzzer, and in a back-and-forth game, Oklahoma State takes the lead. And that is the end of the first half with the score. Oklahoma State 28, Alabama 27. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
Jay there, he's got 10 in the first half. The two big guys doing work inside.
Talking about Caffey for Alabama. Big man inside along with McDyess. Alabama led at one time in the first half by 7, but now the Cowboys come back 1-point lead at the intermission. Here's the lineup for the rest of the day on CBS. At about 2:20 Eastern time, we'll split the country 2.
Point lead over Alabama. Kind of game we anticipated, Billy, with the centers, Reeves and McDyess, the key men. But nothing from either backcourt thus far.
No, the perimeter game has been lacking by both teams. There's only been one three-point shot made, and that's, you can see right here, Alabama, everything inside, absolutely nothing going on out here, and that's really going to be a problem. One of these two teams have got to open up things from the outside, and as you can see, 3-point field goals, 1 for 7. Nobody hitting anything out there, and the shots are available because Oklahoma State's inside the foul line. Now look at Reeves. He's down with both hands against his knees, and the ball game is being played. Faulkner's going to come out and take the shot. Watch what happens with McDyess on the inside here. Reeves is so tired. He played all 20 minutes. The shot goes up, no block out, and here goes McDyess. He's not tired, way above that rim.
Halftime statistics as Reeves leading Oklahoma State with 10 points. McDyess with 12 and 9 rebounds. Alabama shooting only 41%. You got to remember, again, as Billy mentioned, Oklahoma State has a pretty good defense of their own, even though Alabama leads the nation in field goal defense. But the man of the first 2 rounds, what we've seen so far, is without question McDyess. 39 rebounds, 39 points in his first game. And now off to another fine start.
Well, Dick, I'll give you a stat right now. And that's the stat, the fact that Alabama is 0-5 this year when they trail at halftime. They're down 1. The key to the first half, in addition to nobody shooting from the perimeter, is the fact that Oak State got 8 points off the bench. Alabama, none.
Reeves from Pierce. Couldn't convert. Pierce made a fine play, and Faulkner can't save it, so Oklahoma State will still have the ball. These teams, by the way, have played 4 times in their history, and Alabama has won each of the last 3, leading 3-1, but the last time they met was back in 1976, so there's no real history with these two schools.
There's a lot of history, they just not between each other.
Between another. Very well put.
Exactly.
We know about Oklahoma A&M and what they did in the 40s under Henry Iba.
And again, pushing from behind. It's funny, there's hand checking out front, but they never call it inside. Look at McDyess, has got his hands all over me.
Collins, Faulkner, and McDyess just knocked Faulkner away to get the rebound. And here's Caffey, and they're going to call a blocking foul down low. And the foul will be against Rutherford, who has been pretty quiet thus far, has his first personal foul, but in the first half, Randy Rutherford, who came in averaging 20 points a game, has only 4 points on 2 for 6 shooting.
Well, Griffin has done really a good job fighting out through screens to make sure that Rutherford never has a chance to square up on that jumper. Everything inside.
McDyess triple team. Open man, Griffin.
McDyess is going to have to learn when the ball comes in from that side. He's got to look weak side and throw it immediately.
Knocked away by Collins. Loose ball picked up by McDyess. Rushed that shot, but Caffey gets the offensive rebound, and here's McDyess again, and he scores. That is A microcosm of the game thus far.
Well, you know, there are a lot of guys I've seen his size that can get off the floor quickly. Sean Kemp comes to mind as that type of a player. But I don't know if I've ever seen anybody get up off the floor as quickly as he does. Gives him a great advantage as a shot blocker and to stay out of foul trouble because he doesn't have to commit early.
Alabama back in front. Owens, two-man game with Reeves.
Reeves was exhausted at the end of that first half.
And he was exhausted after the first game of this tournament, which you didn't expect. Driving Owens a little out of control. Here comes Alabama with the lead and the ball. Marvin Orange forced the pass inside, but Caffey is there and he scores.
Great hands by Caffey inside. Young man has, as you pointed out, Dick, tremendous comeback after an early season injury. Looks like he's in the best shape of his career. Has had some knick-knack injuries. All conference caliber performer.
From Mobile. Well, Alabama again by 3. They have had the lead most of this game, but their biggest margin was 7. Neither team has really had command.
Here comes that screen for Rutherford. Does he get enough room?
Goes for 3. Still cold. Reeves follows it up. So Reeves now with 12 points. He leads Oklahoma State. The two centers are the only players in double figures thus far.
Even though Rutherford didn't make that shot, by putting it up, it gives Reeves inside position for an offensive rebound. So at least something happening on the perimeter that turns out positive, even though the shot didn't go.
Griffin off the rim. Griffin gets his own rebound. At least Alabama trying to fire from out there, hoping eventually someone starts to click.
That is a real weakness that you see, and the only one you see on this ball club. And when they played their best, as an example, at Arkansas, they had Washington come in there and just blaze things outside with his three-point shooting. We have only seen him for a short time here today, and maybe we'll see him here in the second half. They've got to get somebody to open it up.
Owens committing his first foul. Pierce is replaced by Keontae Roberts. Of course, Alabama with the big win, 18-point victory at Arkansas.
2 years in a row they've beaten Arkansas at Arkansas. There's that turnaround jumper again.
Fluid for the quiet giant, Antonio McDyess, and Alabama is up by 3 again. McDyess has 16 rebounds, 16 points, and 11 rebounds. Here's Rutherford coming off the screen. He still can't find the mark.
What's happening is Griffin is doing a great job beating the screens and getting out there just before Rutherford can put up the shot.
Caffey loses the ball, and it's a 3-on-2 break, and Rutherford again trying to find the mark. Still can't. McDyess fighting for the loose ball, knocks it to Orange, but Oklahoma State will get it again.
Reminds me of what happened in the Villanova game with Evers could not hit anything. Did not score yesterday for Villanova because he was face guarded. They never double teamed away from him, and he didn't get those threes.
Collins pass, and Reeves showed a little nimbleness himself inside. Brings the Cowboys to within a point. 14 for Reeves. After that, their top scorer is Roberts off the bench with 6.
Reeves is very much underrated in regard to his footwork. He keeps himself in nice balance in there, and although he's carrying a lot of weight, probably 290 or so, he's kind of light on his feet.
McDyess baseline. Reeves, tell you, Reeves seems to be.
But look at the energy he's expending. He's the last guy down the floor now. It's going to start to wear on him.
He's battling McDyess, though, pretty much on an even scale.
Well, he'll probably see Roy Rogers here in another couple minutes.
Roberts has the shot blocked by McDyess. Goes after the loose ball, and they're going to call the same way.
Well, McDyess was out of bounds when he tried to tap that one.
We've completed nearly 5 minutes of the second half. There you see another block. Second one for Antonio McDyess. 3-0 in their last year as a league. Manhattan will try to advance to the Sweet 16.
Well, Dick, as the historian, 1958, the great Jerry West from West Virginia. Last team that Manhattan beat in an NCAA tournament.
First
Amazing,
round at Madison Square Garden. And Jack Powers was lifted off and carried off the court for the Jaspers there.
You don't think, you think back, West went to the Final Four twice, right? And so that he went once, so that would have been his other time.
Keontae Roberts misses outside. He lost to Darrell Imhoff in the California Golden Bears. In fact, Oscar Robertson never got to the final. Will Chamberlain did and lost.
He got to the Final Four. He just didn't get to the final game.
That's right.
Everybody always thinks about Cincinnati being, it was after Oscar that they won. And McDyess is hurt going down the floor. He was kind of gimpy. Now he's bending over. Roy Rogers on the sunbound. Super slow-mo. And here he goes. And you know what he does is amazing, Dick. He actually catches the ball and then is still going up. He actually elevates the ball another 6-8 inches before he starts coming down with it.
16 points, 11 boards, and 2 blocks so far for McDyess, who's hurt now on the sideline. Replaced by Rogers. Pass going through Caffey, and it's going to be Cowboys ball.
Let's see here. He's under there battling with Reeves, backing up. He just comes down kind of on that leg. Yeah. Yep. Just came down in an odd position on the leg. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Rogers in the game now for him.
Alabama leading by 1.
All that interior screening, trying to get Reeves open.
They double on Reeves. In and out. Offensive rebound by Keontae Roberts.
Roberts giving him a solid game off the bench.
Collins. Off the glass.
I don't think he called that one. But you can see how he's being affected by that injury that he has on his shooting hand.
Eddie Sutton said that Terry Collins, most improved player he's had since the start of the season. He is a senior from Joliet, Illinois.
And we were told the most explosive leaper he ever coached. We called Eddie over and said, now wait a second, Eddie, where did that stat come from? And he said, no, I'd have to agree. Sidney Moncrief and Kenny Walker were pretty explosive.
Faulkner threw the ball away inside. So here's Oklahoma State with a 1-point lead in the ball, and a foul call against Alabama. And it'll be against Caffey, his 3rd foul, and there you see the ice placed. Not ice, it looks like they have sort of a brace.
Special wrap. He's just trying to walk it off a little bit on the side. And it looks like he is going to tell the coach that he can go in. Nope, he's going to sit back down on the bench.
Eric Washington will come in and replace Jason Caffey, who leaves with 3 personal fouls. Caffey has scored 8 points and has been big force off the boards for the Tide. Rutherford still slumping Roberts, and they're going to call the block on Washington. No, they call offensive foul against Roberts.
The quickness by Washington getting there. Dick, I'll make a little prediction for you. If Washington during this period right now doesn't get something going from the perimeter for this team, they're going to be in some serious trouble. McDyess sitting down. You know that Rogers is not going to score on the inside like Caffey and McDyess would, so somebody is going to have to lift them right now. Washington has done it in the past. He's going to have to do it now.
He gave a spark against Penn in the first round of this tournament, and now they're going to call the offensive foul the other way against Marvin Orange. And even though Washington didn't score much against Penn, he gave them a little movement and spark in that first round.
Well, you mentioned the Arkansas game, the big win. He had 23 down there. 11 games this year he's been their leading scorer. And out of the 14 games that they started the season with, he had 12 double-figure games. Now here's a guy coming off the bench with no points. And if Alabama is going to win, he may be the guy that can get them started here. Otherwise, Oklahoma State pretty solid.
And Rutherford misses and can't save it, so Randy Rutherford is now 2 for 10 in the game and 0 for 4 from 3-point range. So he is in a major slump right now at a bad time for Oklahoma State.
We're talking about a guy 0 for 4 from 3, had 11 threes against Kansas, so you know what his potential is.
Antonio McDyess injured his quad. That's the word from the bench, but his substitute Roy Rogers looks awfully strong with that jam and his first points of the game. Bama regains the lead.
Now, one of the things that's helping a little bit here with McDyess sitting down, and hopefully he can come back in, is the fact that Reeves now has to play against another fresh body. And Rogers is their #1 shot blocker.
And there is Rogers fouling Reeves, who showed some quickness on the baseline. So for Rogers, that will be his 2nd personal foul. Well, now you can follow CBS Sports in cyberspace. Go interactive. Be an insider during this tournament. Match picks with the experts. Chat with the CBS crew, guys like Billy. Check out what you'll be seeing and when. And it's a first from CBS on Prodigy and CBS on the World Wide Web. Plus, live online appearances by Jim Nance, Pat O'Brien, my partner here, and others. Exclusive online analysis by CBS Sports announcers throughout the tournament, so you can get a chance to get behind-the-scenes news and tournament tidbits available through the CBS Sports press room. Can't beat it, Billy.
Oklahoma State substitution number 43.
Scare comes back for Oklahoma State, and Collins goes to the bench. So here's Reeves, who has 15 points, 6 rebounds, and perfect from the line.
Give the young man credit as well. He's face not only McDyess, who's an outstanding guy, and Caffey. There's Rutherford, excellent rebounder from the guard position.
Reeves had made 12 straight free throws in this tournament before that miss.
But Reeves is having to play every minute of this game so far.
And he's still battling and fighting. He has 17 points in the game, and Oklahoma State leads by 2. And this matches their biggest lead, which was established on the first basket of the game.
And when you think about Reeves battling big people, what he did against Kansas this year against their 3 7-footers, 33 points, 20 rebounds, I guess it shouldn't surprise us that he's hanging in there. Kid's got a lot of toughness.
Here's Washington from the corner. Rebound by Scare. Oklahoma State with a chance to open up their biggest lead. Plenty of time remaining. Rutherford hits the 3. Couldn't come at a better time for Eddie Sutton.
Huge shot. Get him out of the snide from the outside. Young man that is going to put up the threes even when he's missing.
132nd three-point basket for Randy Rutherford this year. Not many three-point shooters, but Bama 50%. Reeves and McDyess continue to pace both teams, the two centers, scoring-wise, and with Oklahoma State outscoring Alabama 8-2 while Antonio McDyess was out. Back he comes into the game along with Jason Caffey, who's playing with 3 fouls.
Faulkner sits down. Washington stays in. Let's see how McDyess moves to the ball and gets off the floor.
Last 3.5 minutes, Oklahoma State has outscored Bama 12-2, and they're going to have an Oklahoma State foul, their 4th team foul. And now McDyess is coming up, and he'll have to come out, it appears.
Yep, he got hit. Roberts coming over. Boy, that was a neat defensive move by Eddie Sutton. He doubled on the post from the weak side. Look at that. Roberts comes right over. McDyess couldn't have possibly known that Roberts was coming from behind him. And that really tough break for that young man.
Roberts with 4 personal fouls, and McDyess is going to stay in there. No move from Rogers.
65% guy in the foul line will obviously not shoot. He was not in the act of shooting.
Caffey from McDyess. And another Cowboy foul, so they picked up 2 in a hurry, and McDyess is...
He's looking to the bench, Dick, as if he wants to come out of there, but he's being ignored right now.
He's clearly limping out on the floor.
He'd be smart to just try to run a little bit, see if he can move, because he's down there powering against a big country. With a sore knee, that's got to be tough. Here it is again, double team and triple team.
Dice misses, goes after the rebound, and another Oklahoma State foul, their 3rd in the last 30 seconds.
Well, that was a quadruple team. I don't know if I've seen a guy in the post being guarded by 4 people, and he still was able to get something up. And he ought to be thinking, if there's 4 guys around me, that means there's 1 on the other 4 teammates. Throw it to one of them.
Reeves' 2nd foul. 16 foul against the Cowboys. The next one will put Alabama into the bonus.
Again, going down inside, trying to keep Reeves occupied.
Marvin Orange looking now for Caffey. Orange will put it up. And McDyess crashes the boards, and that one will go against McDyess and Alabama. It's first foul against the sophomore, who has been shaken up, trying to walk off that injured quad that he suffered here in the second half.
He's still looking down the floor in some pain. Randy Rutherford, who went up on him. We've talked about his great perimeter shooting, but what a combination he's got with that outside shooting and 6 rebounds a game for a guard.
Rutherford hit his last 3. He's been cold, though, for the most part, and Reeves, they're going to call the push on McDyess, his 2nd quick foul.
It's kind of interesting. Just the fact that Rutherford made that jump shot opened some things up. Watch. Here's what it opened. Griffin leaves to go out on Rutherford. Now nobody in the post to double team on Reeves. And it was just a touch foul inside.
Ticky-tack would be a good description for that foul.
Boy, look at how quick Griffin is fighting over those screens. As good as I've seen this year. That's why Alabama's been so tough holding teams down with field goal percentage defense leading the country.
Reeves against McDyess. And it looked like it was last touched by Oklahoma State, giving Alabama the ball. Alabama with outstanding defense, and the question is if any one of the Crimson Tide guards can start to get hot from outside, they could get back. They're trailing by 5 here.
But we know that both the guards in the starting lineup shoot 30% from 3. So I don't think that's where the answer is going to come from. Here's the man.
Eric Washington, number 14.
He can't get open either.
Under 10 minutes remaining, second half. Orange. High arcing shot is short. Saved by McDyess. New possession.
Leon Douglas's record for rebound in an NCAA tournament game may evaporate soon the way McDyess is getting them.
13 boards for McDyess. Here is Washington. Owens the rebound.
Cannot buy one. And again, I point out a team like Villanova. 3 for 21 from 3 in their loss to ODU due to good defense by ODU. But when you don't hit that perimeter shot in a tournament, you're really hurting.
Today, Alabama is 1 for 11 from three-point range, and we'll have another foul against the Crimson Tide.
Here's this movement without the ball, and Eddie Sutton trademarked the motion offense. And as a matter of fact, that could have almost been an intentional as Caffey grabbed Pierce's jersey as he knew he was beat on the screen.
And that's his 4th personal foul, so McDyess is hobbling, and Caffey goes to the bench with 4 fouls, replaced by Faulkner. So all of a sudden, that imposing front line by Alabama not quite as effective right now. On the corner, short is Rutherford into the hands of Marvin Orange. Still a 5-point Oklahoma State lead. McDyess trying to tip it in is Eric Washington. And it's last touched by Bama. It'll be Oklahoma State's ball.
Excellent job by Scare to go in there and just shock the troops out of keeping that ball alive.
St. Louis and Wake Forest, the ACC champions, come up next. Manhattan and Arizona State. The next 2 games coming up here in the second round.
Neither team pressing full court. Maybe a way to go ahead and wear a big country down a little bit. Try to turn this into more of a full court game.
Here's Owens. And the rebound by McDyess. So that is 14 from McDyess. But they haven't worn out Reeves yet, have they?
No, they sure haven't.
Good steal. Picked a pocket. There's Andre Owens with Orange back defending. No foul. Rutherford in a crowd. And they call a timeout. Very alert timeout called by Randy Rutherford with 8:32 remaining and a 5-point Cowboy lead.
The women's.
Oklahoma State leading by 5, but one of the stories here, each team has only 1 3-point basket.
Hey, Dick, check out that 1 for 11, 1 for 7. Oklahoma State has this game they play called knockout, where you go ahead and shoot 3-point shots, and the guy that's at the end wins. Here's a telltale thing about Oklahoma State. The last 2 guys to win are Gary Thompson and Corey Williams. 2 guys aren't even on the team. Thompson, as you know, a longtime announcer, great player. And, of course, Corey Williams played on a team in the past. So when you got guys that aren't even on the squad winning your shooting contest, you've got some problems.
Well, Rutherford hits a 3. Maybe he ought to enter the contest.
Well, he got down to one of the, I guess, last 3 or 4 the last game they played.
10 points now for Rutherford as he hits his second 3-point shot. Passink has checked in for Alabama, number 22 at guard.
Now they've got their best shooters that they've had in the game so far.
Washington stuffs it in. We've been talking about him all game and what he means to them coming off the bench.
Well, Passink, Washington, Orange in the game, and Faulkner. So they're changing their offensive philosophy here. 1 big man and 4 perimeter players.
Scare defending inside, traveling against Reeves. By the way, during that last timeout, McDyess put on a larger brace on his left knee. The report was he had an injured quad, but there's the brace on the knee of Antonio McDyess.
Let's see the matchups now in terms of getting something going from the perimeter to give McDyess a little bit more room to operate.
Faulkner, the ball was tipped by Pierce. Oklahoma State led by 1, although Alabama led most of the first half. Now the Cowboys have a 5-point lead, 7:38 remaining, and David Hobbs looking to see if the Crimson Tide can come from behind in this one. Here's McDyess from the foul line. Smooth.
So he'll take the perimeter shot, huh? That's exactly what a coach Hobbs wanted. He brings in 4 perimeter players, and his big man steps out and makes a jump.
Of course. 18 for McDyess. Rutherford. He's getting hot. and that's his third three-point basket here in the second half.
Now here's what you give up. You take Griffin out of the game, you bring passing in for shooting, but now you don't have that man that can fight over the screens to hold down Rutherford.
Cowboys by 7. They had an 8-point lead moments ago. Alabama had a 7-point lead early. 7 minutes on the clock.
Still that man-to-man pulling it out a little bit further on his shooters.
Washington with a 3 from the corner, so now Alabama getting some mileage from Eric Washington, a sophomore from Jackson, Mississippi. 4-point lead for the Cowboys.
Now let's see if they keep going to Rutherford, because passing can't get out there.
And another one for Randy Rutherford, and now all of a sudden we're seeing the bombs drop.
This is why Eddie Sutton has taken 4 different teams to the NCAA tournament. He spotted a weakness and taken advantage of it right away. Now Coach Hobbs probably going to counter with Griffin coming back in, see if he comes in for passing or he comes in for Washington.
Washington gets it into Faulkner. They have Pierce on him, Faulkner. And now Faulkner, who's the hot man in overtime the other night, in Alabama with their best shooting sequence of the game, staying in there, trailing by 5.
And let's see again. Here they go into a change your defense. They go to 1-3-1 trap. Cross courts the play.
Reeves driving, foul.
Terrific move on his part. It was the only way to get that ball up to the basket. He doesn't have that gliding ability to come out the other side. You'll see it here. He went cross court. They got it back to him. Now look. See, he can't glide across that lane and use the rim. But he put it up, drew the foul.
17th foul on Alabama and the 3rd personal on McDyess, so it'll be 2 shots at the line for Reeves, but now Oklahoma State is into the bonus, and so far today Reeves is 3 for 4 from the line. Collins back in for Oklahoma State. Deonte Roberts also in there up front with Owens and Rutherford in the backcourt.
Dick, again, Reeves has not been out of the ball game. 5:53 to go. He's putting his team in a nice working margin here.
Reeves makes them both. Artie Griffin back in, and there's mom and dad for Reeves.
Carl and Carolyn. Oh, he missed Faulkner. Orange had his back turned. Roberts was trying to help out on McDyess.
4 of the 5 Alabama players who started the game are in there. Eric Washington is the other one. Loose ball taken down by Rutherford. Costly turnover with less than 5.5 to play. Alabama cannot afford to lose possessions like this, down by 7.
The Oak State just doesn't respect the outside perimeter game at all of Alabama, and they haven't been forced to, and therefore they are sagging off inside, making it tough to get the ball to McDyess.
Here's Rutherford, who's been hot. And they're going to call Reeves for the foul over McDyess. So Reeves will commit his 3rd foul, and that is the 7th team foul against the Cowboys. So Alabama will shoot 1-1.
Of course, Bryant Reeves, 3rd foul right there. Oklahoma, what then was A&M with Bob Curlin, the first of the great big men that came into college basketball, a Hall of Famer now.
First school to win back-to-back NCAA championships back in 45 and 46, and Bob Curlin, who you mentioned was the outstanding player both years.
Yes, sir. 2 NCAA tournament MVPs, 2 championships, and you know, the first battle, we think about all the great big men matchups of Russell and Chamberlain, but Curlin and Mikan were really the first of the battle of the huge centers. In those days, the lane was much smaller, 6 foot wide, and you could offensive goaltend as the ball was coming down. Could you imagine this young man right here, if he could have offensive goaltending, you just throw it up in the air and he'd go throw it through.
Different set of rules in those days. 20 points now for McDyess. 4 for 4 from the line. 5-point Oklahoma State lead. Both teams in the bonus right now. Reeves, and McDyess is looking the wrong way.
He was looking for the ball to be swung to the outside. Reeves just held his ground. It's a strange play there.
Yeah, McDyess caught napping on really an isolation play inside. Here's Caffey, who's in there with 4 personal fouls, and Faulkner fires away. Rutherford, remember, he's the 2nd leading rebounder. on Oklahoma State, despite the fact he's only 6'3".
Here's the, oh, I see why he was looking the other
Thought
direction.
there was a whistle.
No, he got hit right in the chin with that elbow, and of course it probably shocked him a little bit.
He thought there should have been a whistle.
Well, that was a mistake on his part. And I'm sure he didn't feel very good, but you got to stay here and keep your concentration going.
Washington. He has come on and played a big role. 7 points off the bench for Alabama.
Now let's see if they start picking up their defense a little bit higher out. Here they go. Picking up now three-quarter court. Trying to trap.
Nearly an over and back.
This opens things up for Reeves if they'll go cross court and back into him. How about Rutherford for a jumper?
McDyess, the big guy, out to meet him.
They're just running this 1-3-1 corner to corner.
He throw the ball away. Reminiscent of the Georgetown, North Carolina.
Without question. That's one of those things that flash at Freddie Brown. It happens to a lot of players. You know, your mind has an image of where the players are, and it gets away from you.
Roberts to Reeves. He gave him a low pass, but Reeves took it and went strong to the hoop. And 23 points for Big Country.
I don't think 1-3-1 half-court trap is going to work against Oklahoma State as they go cross-court with their passing.
Controlling the second half. Timeouts remaining. Bama has just one. Both teams in the bonus. The possession arrow favors Alabama, and Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside. Reeves and Rutherford have scored 25 of the Cowboys' 27 second half points and their last 21. So no question who's doing the damage for Eddie Sutton's crew. No surprise.
And Dick, we talked about the fact that the first team could get a perimeter game going, would win this, and Rutherford has been the perimeter team for Oak State.
Orange, Washington, McDyess, Faulkner, and Caffey with the ball. He's playing with 4 personals. Washington quickly fires it up, and Orange gets the long rebound.
A lot of time left to go ahead and start shooting tough threes.
Faulkner, he misses. McDyess knocks it into the hands again. Washington, and he lost it out of bounds.
That's a little bit like the Minnesota situation. 4 threes in a row without any of them hitting. They got 3 there.
They didn't show any patience at all by firing those shots. At the time, you have to be patient with plenty of time remaining.
Sure. 3:07 to go. No need to panic yet. And here you can see again, they're going to go into this 1-3-1 half-court trap. And Oklahoma State showed that they know how to handle it. They throw over and cross court.
Scott Pierce back in. Number 20 for the Cowboys.
You throw over this and try to go cross court, and you'll find somebody open.
McDyess moving around. He had Rutherford now finding Reeves. Nearly a bad pass by Reeves. Owens misses the jumper. Alabama coming down by 7 points. Let's see what their patience looks like this time. Well, they're firing it away. So they're keeping the ball, but they're throwing up errant shots. That time McDyess makes good, and he has 22 points to cut it to 5.
What they are doing, though, Dick, they're creating it a frenetic game. And all of a sudden, you know, that's not the way Oklahoma State wants to play. They like to play a half court at a time. So maybe by taking wild shots, they're getting the long rebounds. Makes the game rather wild.
Reeves speeding to Connor Roberts with the basket.
This team is going to tear apart a 1-3-1 trap.
Eddie Sutton doing a terrific coaching job today. So here's Washington.
It's amazing to take these kind of shots in so much time. They're down 7. They can get better shots than that.
They could be shooting themselves out of this game. Down by 7. Alabama shouldn't be firing the threes. If you look at their 2 for 17 percentage right now.
So they go back. They get out of the 1-3-1. They go back to half-court man-to-man. Tough matchup here for Faulkner, having to play Owens.
Alabama led most of the first half, although Oklahoma State had a 1-point lead on a shot as time ran down, up by 7.
There's your bad matchup. No way that Faulkner's going to handle Owens in the open court like that. With Griffin sitting on the bench, they really don't have a good matchup for man-to-man pressure.
It'll be 1-1 now for Oklahoma State with 1:23 showing on the clock, and you can see Alabama on the bench looking kind of dim right now. The Crimson Tide 23-9. trying to advance to the Sweet 16, something they haven't been able to do their last 2 appearances in the tournament. Here's Owens at the free throw line, who has 4 points. First time he's at the line, and has really been the playmaker today with 10 assists.
That's the 6th game this year with 10 or more assists.
This is the front end. That's right. He is consistently setting up other people. Faulkner trying to go around Roberts. Here's Caffey and a whistle, no basket. Stepping on the line.
It's going to be Pierce before. Yep.
And the foul is on Pierce. So give Oklahoma State their 8th team foul, and 1-1 coming up at the line. St. Louis and Wake Forest next here in Baltimore, and Manhattan going against Arizona State in Memphis. Here is Caffey shooting 1-1 so far today. Caffey has 8 points, first time at the line.
On the year, a very weak free throw shooter, but all of that took place in the first 2/3 of the season. Since that time, he has really picked up his productivity. Hits that one.
See, 54% during the regular season, but that one was perfect.
Kind of interesting to watch a guy make that big a transformation within the same season.
2 perfect free throw. Looks like he's at 85%.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent stroke now. I didn't see the games where he was shooting down in the low 50s.
5-point lead.
Perfect.
And now releasing is Randy Rutherford. And no call. Foul on Eric Washington.
Wow, I thought he got all of that, Dick. Rutherford, who's explosive himself. But watch Washington chase him down, a set play on that out-of-bounds situation. Washington was a good 20 feet behind Rutherford. I think it was a great block.
I think he got the ball, too.
I do, too. It was a great block. It was one of those deals where a referee, a matter of fact, the referee who was on the play didn't make the call. This is a perfect block.
Perfect block.
The referee that was trailing probably said, and here you see him coming into the picture, there's no way you can block that ball, but he did. Tough call for Alabama.
Rutherford now with 17 points. Makes them both 18 points for Rutherford, who got off to a very slow start today. Had only 7 at the half. Timeout. Cowboys by 7. Seconds away from advancing. Each team with 1 timeout remaining. Next Bama foul will be 2 shots for Oklahoma State. What about the strategy here?
Well, if you're Alabama, you've got to do 2 things. One, you've got to pressure, and I think you got to pressure man-to-man. The half-court trap does not work against Oklahoma State. They're well drilled against it, so you got to come out full-court pressure. And now, Dick, at 1 minute mark, down 7, you got to start thinking from some threes quickly.
Marvin Orange setting a screen outside McDyess.
And the pressure defensively, and we talked about that, is tough by Oklahoma State.
Washington misses a 3. And here's Rutherford. And a foul on Faulkner. And that'll be 2 shots
from here on out.
Right, for Oklahoma State. And they're close to putting this game away. Interestingly enough, that Reeves and Rutherford, who came into the game scoring 41 points between them, have exactly 41 points to this point.
Not much longer. They're going to surpass that in the second, because you got the guy on the line you'd like to have there. Excellent pure shooter, shooting right a little bit under 80% for the year.
2 for 3 today. Alabama didn't miss a free throw. Problem is they didn't go to the line all that much.
And the reason for that is because they didn't get a perimeter game going. They never could get any spacing on the inside, Dick. So, you know, when they did get the ball inside, it was rather easy to defend them.
Artie Griffin in and Eric Washington out for Alabama.
Now that kind of surprising. Maybe the fact that Washington taking shots too quickly.
Missed them both, did Rutherford. And he's the best free throw shooter on the team. So let's see if Alabama can capitalize. Griffin with a baseline shot. In and out. McDyess lost the ball, and Reeves has it for Oklahoma State, and Griffin fouls him. And an opportunity for the Crimson Tide went by the wayside, and Cowboys will shoot 2 again.
Reeves with those good hands inside, using that wide body.
35.5 on the clock. 7-point lead. Eddie Sutton, 17th NCAA tournament, and look back at Creighton where it all started for him, and then you move along to Arkansas, Kentucky. You know, he was in Kentucky. He used to face Alabama. He was 7-3 when he coached the Wildcats against the Crimson Tide in his 4 years at Lexington.
He started out down there first year 32-4, 17-1 in the league, first place. Of course, everybody remembers the way he had to leave, unfortunately, the University of Kentucky.
25 for Reeves. 9-point lead.
Reeves another great rebound, and he just hangs on.
Biggest lead of the game for Oklahoma State, and they're going to call another Alabama foul. And some of the Cowboys starting to jump in elation, knowing that they're going to advance to East Rutherford, New Jersey, and the East Regional semifinals next week.
Dick, when I think about this young man today, Reeves, the fact that he will play every second of this game. Rogers came in to spell McDyess. McDyess is enough of a load to handle himself. Caffey started guarding against him, and he's still out there. 40 minutes of excellent play.
They have a timeout. He's been a warrior. Early players of the game, Antonio McDyess, 22 points and 17 rebounds. Big effort for him, and we'll see more of him, just a sophomore. Bryant Reeves will advance, 25 points and 7 rebounds. We thought the quickness might be too much for Reeves with all of the numbers Alabama had up front, but Reeves at Oklahoma State and his combo friend Rutherford hung in there.
Doesn't even look like he's sweating too hard out there, and terrific job on his part. You know, he's got the odd-shaped body for an athlete, but he is certainly well conditioned when you see what performance he put on today. Of course, got the name Big Country from the only guy he trails in the all-time scoring list at Oklahoma State, Byron Houston.
And a 10-point lead for Oklahoma State as Reeves and Rutherford accounted for 30 of their 34 points in the second half. The inside-outside combination effective again. Faulkner misses the long shot. And here is Roberts releasing and stuffing it through after Rutherford found him. And it's celebration time. They're heading for East Rutherford.
Smart play by Rutherford. Is that a play on words? Rutherford heading to East Rutherford?
Yeah.
How about that?
It had to be. He'll put an E in front of that name on the back of his jersey. And on the buzzer, it was Andre Owens with the final basket, and Oklahoma State wins going away. And for the third time in 5 years, the Cowboys have advanced to the Sweet 16, and for Alabama, their season ends today. Final score, Oklahoma State 66, Alabama 52. Cowboys will face the winner of the Wake Forest-St. Louis game, the #1 seed Demon Deacons of the ACC, which comes up next here in Baltimore. So when we come back, Jim Nance and company in our studios in New York. For Billy Packer, Dick Stockton saying so long, Oklahoma State.
Advance to the Sweet 16, and let's get back courtside right now to Billy Packer. Billy?
Eddie, terrific win for you guys today. I thought it was a tremendous defensive performance on behalf of both teams, particularly in the first half.
I thought both teams played well defensively, and it was hard to get a three-point shot. And finally, we were able to break Rutherford open for some good looks there in the second half. But the big guy really played a whale of a game. You know, he's carried us, you know, for a long time. He scored well, but he rebounded well, and also defensed well. I tell you, McDyess is a heck of a player for a sophomore.
Well, Brian, one of the things that we noticed at halftime, it looked like you were exhausted. And in the second half, I've never seen a guy go out and play against the numbers you did and seem to be in such great shape. Did it bother you at all?
Well, you know, when I left the court at halftime, I was very tired. You know, I went in the locker room and laid down and rested the whole time. I come back out on the court, I seemed to get a third or fourth win, and, you know, I mean, from then on, now, it didn't bother me at all.
Have you played against anybody that gets off the floor any quicker than McDyess?
Oh, definitely not. I mean, these guys are a great group of athletes. I mean, they're a heck of players.
Eddie, in the first half, particularly as we talked about the defensive pressure, beating a guy like Rutherford back out to the spot, what did you do differently in the second half to get him some decent looks?
Well, I thought we did a better job of executing. We got better screens, and I told Randy, he has a tendency sometimes, Billy, to go too soon and not wait on the screen. We have a rule, it's better to go late than go early, and because it's hard to screen a moving target, and I thought we did a better job there. But, you know, the biggest key in the game, other than defense, we felt like that we could not give up a lot of second shots to the University of Alabama. You know, they had 26 offensive rebounds the other night against the University of Pennsylvania, and I thought that was really a big factor in this game.
Well, you didn't get to see the president the other day because you had to stay here. You know, there's one way you get to go there, and that is to win it all. So is that in the cards?
Oh, that's definitely in the cards, John. I think we got a chance to go all the way and win it all, and then I'll get to go see the president.
Well, best of luck to both of you guys. Great show today.
Thanks a lot.
Back to Jimmy Nance.
All right, thank you, Billy. Sounds like he has some ideas about going to Washington, D.C., but first, big country's coming to the Big Apple, the Meadowlands, if you will. Next Friday, East Regional. Oklahoma State will play the winner of that Wake Forest-St. Louis game coming up later.
Well, Billy and Dick talked about it throughout the game. Somebody needed to make perimeter shots. Randy Rutherford had 4.
And I mean that. You can see the beautifully lit Nations Bank building behind me. Oklahoma State came to Baltimore a few days ago, and they took care of their business. They're on their way home. In fact, they're probably home right now, getting ready to watch what happened to them today. And it was good news. The Cowboys are in the round of Sweet 16 in the NCAA basketball tournament for the 3rd time in 5 years under head coach Eddie Sutton. And I have to tell you, all the media people here in Baltimore, including a lot of the Eastern press, talking about how really great of a coach Eddie Sutton is and deserves to have credit. Remember, he's the only guy that's taken 4 different schools to the NCAA tournament. And this Cowboy team could be headed to Seattle in the Final Four. He won't admit it yet. In my mind, there were 2 things that keyed OSU's victory today in the East Regional here in Baltimore against Alabama, and here they are. The first turning of the tide, no pun intended, came with 14:44 left to play. Alabama's sensational sophomore Antonio McDyess had to sit out 3 minutes after hurting his knee, and Bama never recovered.
It just started hurting above my knee, above my knee, and sharp pain just started coming in there. And like 2 or 3 plays, it just started affecting how I was running and playing.
Well, I think when McDyess is not on the floor, they're not the same basketball team. He just almost dominates the defensive boards on you, and he also puts so much pressure on your defense when he's in the game. So there's no doubt when he went off the floor that it changed the game.
OSU took full advantage. Terry Collins, playing with a painful finger injury himself, banked in his only hoop of the day. Bryant Reeves owned the inside after the nice pass from Keontae Roberts, and Randy Rutherford tossed in a 3. That started Turning of the Tide Part 2. Rutherford hit 3 3-pointers during this run to bomb Bama for good.
We certainly encouraged him when he got good looks to shoot the ball, and he's such a fierce competitor. I'd rather have him shooting the ball when the game's on the line than anyone else, and he certainly came to the front and looked like one of the best guards in college basketball.
Oh, it was a huge relief to see Randy finally get on fire. You know, we knew that Randy would eventually get on fire.
But after McDyess came back, it was Big Country who warmed up the old Baltimore arena. He muscled his way for 26 points and 7 rebounds, and his backcourt buddy returned the compliment.
Well, hey, that's an All-American center. He knows he's got to come to play every game, and we know he's going to come to play to every game. We're going to give him the ball because we really believe there's no one guy in the country can stop him one-on-one.
You got to make plays, and you know, their big guy, one of their leaders all year, both of their go-to guys delivered, and because of that, they're going on to the Final 16.
And what a glorious game it was for a pair of Pokes who didn't start out in Stillwater, but the wait was sure worth it.
It feels wonderful. You know, I was watching Illinois, and they lost last night, and I was just so happy that the good Lord sent me here and that we were able to go to the Sweet 16.
Oh, it's a great feeling, you know, especially for a player like myself who's first time being in the NCAA tournament and coming out of junior college. You know, it's something that I always wanted to do, and you know, now that I'm here, you know, it's just a feeling really that's undescribable.
And Oklahoma State can describe all about what it's like to play in the New York, New Jersey area, 4 hours north of here. That's where they're headed next. They'll play Friday against Wake Forest. Back to you, Brian Brinkley. I'll see you tomorrow.
R&R. Randy Rutherford and Bryant Reeves combined for 44 points in the Cowboys' win over Alabama today. Tonight, the team made their triumphant return to Oklahoma. They're home for a few days before shipping off to East Rutherford, New Jersey for the Sweet 16, and that's a special opportunity for the team's seniors.
I think as a senior, there's 4 of us. You know, I think we all 4 have to elevate our game a little bit. You know, once you get to the Sweet 16, all the teams are about the same. You know, they all got the same talent level. It's just who goes out and executes the best. You know, plays good defense and rebounds. You know, you got to have a lucky break here or there. But you know, I think this team has a chance to go all the way.
Next up for Big Country and the Pokes, Wake Forest. Wake's hot. They've won 12 straight. That's Friday night at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Well, the Cowboys winner today by 14 over Alabama, but but the game was actually a lot closer than the final score indicates. Mick Cornett has more on the turning points that helped propel the Cowboys into the Sweet 16.
The ball game was close until two episodes occurred in the second half. It was a one-point game when Alabama's Antonio McDyess went down with an injury. He would return, but not to full form. Moments later, Randy Rutherford nailed 4 straight three-pointers. It would be his only threes of the day, but they would be enough. Roll over tied. Bryant Reeves was the leading scorer with 22. Andre Owens had 10 assists. The Cowboys pulled away. Rutherford made a great save to Keontae Roberts, and OSU won 66-52.
Brian did a real good job of finding open man tonight because he knew, and we knew as a team, that they were going to double down on him. And if we could find open gaps, he told us he could find us, and that's exactly what he did tonight.
I think this is the 5th straight game that the team we played has shot under 40%, so our defense is good. And I like the ball club. They can play with anyone, but there are a lot of teams who can play with us.
It's the 3rd time Eddie Sutton's Cowboys have made the Sweet 16. This time, they hope to kiss the Final 8. Mick Cornett, 5 Sports, Baltimore.
In college basketball, it's a sweet feeling tonight for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. The Pokes have reached the round of 16 with an impressive victory over a very athletic Alabama team. The expected battle inside developed early and was pretty much a draw in the first half. Bryant Reeves with 10 points in the first half. Bama's Antonio McDyess 12 points in the first 20 minutes. OSU up by 1 at the break. But at 15 minutes left, McDyess left the game for 3 minutes with an injury. He returned and finished with 22.7 boards, but in his absence, the damage was done. Randy Rutherford, 4 straight three-pointers, gave OSU an 8-point lead. Randy scored 18. With McDyess limping, Reeves finished with 26 points to become OSU's all-time leading scorer. The Cowboys turned the game into a rout by scoring the last 9 points, 66-52 the final. Bill Teagans has more from Baltimore.
Once again, Maryland proves to be good luck for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Oklahoma State up by 1 at halftime on Saturday against Alabama. In the second half, the 2 key men, Bryant Reeves and Randy Rutherford. The 1 key denominator, defense.
Reeves and Rutherford both just played terrific, not only on offense and scoring points, but I thought defensively and rebounding as well.
When we made our run on them, I thought our defense really picked it up. We limited them to 1 shot. We was in their face. We was challenging all their shots. I think our defense won the game for us again today.
We believe we have one of the best defensive teams in the country. If we're playing well, doing the things we're supposed to do. And that was one issue that we knew. If we played good defense, eventually they was going to cool off, and we just had to limit them to 1 shot.
There are 2 leaders on the team, and I think Country did a great job the whole game. Randy does so much more than knock down those 3-pointers that you saw today. He has some terrific rebounds and steals, and they really just stepped up their level of play and carried us.
So for the 2nd time in 5 years, the Cowboys come through Maryland and head to East Rutherford, New Jersey. That means on Friday, the Cowboys play in the round of the Sweet 16. In Baltimore, Bill Teagans, Sportsline 9.
The opponent for Oklahoma State on Friday, the top seed in the East, ACC champion Wake Forest. Charlie.